Hi YouTube. In this tutorial, I'll show you guys how to create a simple ARP scanner in Python. So this will probably be a 5 to 6 part series. By the end of this series, you'll get the full script. So I will quickly explain what this script will do. So this script will first, you will pass it your IP address, your interface, network interface name, which in my case, it will probably be ETH0. So it will find the IP address of the interface. Once it found the IP address and the subnet mask, then it will send ARP requests, and by sending those ARP requests, it will discover all the hosts in the network that respond to these ARP requests. So it will show you the IP address of the host and their corresponding MAC addresses. This will be our script. This will be the end product. So for the first part in here, the first thing that we have to do is we have to import Scapy. Now, Scapy is a powerful library for network packet manipulation. It lets us interact with different network protocols directly from our Python code. Now, if you want more information about this, you can go to its documentation. The first thing we have to do is we have to import it. So from scapy.all import, you will import everything. This will be faster this way. So once we do that, the first thing we have to do is we have to create the ARP request packet. So let's say ARP request. Once we do that, let's create the packet. So it will take a destination. For the destination, I will type the IP address, which for me, for a target that we will be doing for this practice, it will be 187. Sorry. So this in here, ARP, this is the ARP request. This creates the ARP layer, the ARP packet. It takes different arguments. For now being, you'll just give it the IP address, which in this, for our example, it will be the IP address of a host connected to my network. It's 192.168.1.187. The next thing we have to do is we have to create the Ethernet frame. So the Ethernet frame is used to deliver the ARP request to every device on the local network. So for that, let's quickly create that. Its destination, the Ethernet frame's destination, will be the broadcast address, which for us it will be FFFFF in here. So what it will do is it will send this request, this ARP request, to all the hosts or nodes on the network. It will send it to all the networks, to all the hosts in the network, and the one that has the IP address of 192.168.1.187, it will respond back to us. Next, what we have to do is we have to combine these two layers. Now this is what will be sent to the entire network. So let's quickly create this. ARP broadcast request is equal to, we create first, we will type in the broadcast in here. Then we this is the broadcast, this is the Ethernet frame. We will follow it with the ARP request. Again, if you have any question about ARPs or this Ethernet frame, just type your question in the comment section and I will try to answer it. ARP request. So now that the packet is formed, our next goal is to send the packet. So we will send it using another function from Scapy. The function is SRP. So let's quickly create that. So we will call it answered list, and this SRP function will send our packet, our Ethernet packet or Ethernet frame to the network. So the first argument that this will take is the broadcast request, which in this case is in here. It's ARP broadcast request. This is the first argument. After the first argument, then we will specify the timeout. The timeout, what it means is it will wait for how many seconds do you want it to wait before it moves on. So for us, it will be 1 second. We will use a timeout of 1 second. It means that it will wait for 1 second before moving on. Then we have to specify the verbosity. For us, we don't want the output to be very verbose, so we'll just type in false. We don't want it to be verbose. Now this will send us two things. So let me just quickly type this. So the first list is a list of successfully answered packets. So if we type a 0 here, we will get a list of the packets that were successfully answered. But if we type in 1, then it will send us a list of packets that were not successful. But we want the successful ones, so for that we want the first list. Then we have to loop through that list. So we'll go sent and received and answered list. So in here we will say show us the sent packets and also show us the received packets. So in here it will loop through the list. In here it will show us the packet that we sent and the packet that we receive from this host in here, if this host exists on the network. So let's go to the terminal. In here, this is our script. So if we say Python 01, we run it. It says operation is not permitted. So we have to run it with sudo level privileges. Once we do that, okay. I hope you guys can see this. So in here, you can see that the first thing we did was we specified the ARP packet and also the Ethernet frame. So this is the first one is our ARP. This is our ARP packet, and the second one is the Ethernet frame. So let's start with the ARP. In the ARP, we only specified the destination, which is 192.168.1.187. So this is the first packet, the first one that is sent. In here we can see this, the sent one. It's printing the sent. So we see the IP address. So this is the PDSD. You can see this in here also, PDSD. So we only defined the PDSD. It is the destination. The destination is 192.168.1.187. The source, PSRC, it is the source. It's my IP address. It's 192.168.1.192. This is the IP address of my computer, my host. This is my MAC address, HW source. It's the hardware MAC address. Now this is important here. If you look at this OP, it says who has. So this ARP packet, it tries to discover hosts, which in this case we are trying to discover the host 192.168.1.187. So the ARP, the type of the ARP request is a who has this IP address. Then let's move to the Ethernet frame. The type of the Ethernet frame, that it takes an ARP packet. It again, you can see that it specifies our MAC address, which in this case they are both the same. This is my MAC address, and then this is the destination, which we can see. This is the broadcast Ethernet frame, which is FF. It sends it to all devices in the local network. Now this is what we sent. So what we received. So again, what's received? Let's look at the ARP first. So in here we can see that the first one was we were first printing the sent, and this is the received one that we received. This port, second port, is the one that we received. So in here we can see that this time the source, this is the source in here, 192.168.1.187. So this is the host that you're trying to discover. It has responded to us. This is its MAC address. So it has sent, this time, you see, last time the PDSD, the destination was 192.168.1.187. This is what you're trying to discover. So this time, the destination is 192.168.1.192. This is our IP address. This in here p source, this in here it shows it at 192.168.1.192. In here it's the source because we were sending this Ethernet frame. So the one that we have received, the ARP packet, this time it's reversed. The destination 192.168.1.92, and the source is this, and this is my MAC address, this 78. In here you can see that it's the source. Now the important part, it's the OP. The OP here is at, you can see it here. So the last time we checked the packet, the ARP packet, the ARP request that we sent, it had the OP of who has. The response that we have received, the OP, it is at. So our request was who has this IP address of 192.168.1.87. What we have received, it's 192.168.1.87 is at. So this is the network. It gives us the IP address and the MAC address. Who has, it's what we have sent, is at, is what we have received. So we said who has 192.168.1.187. This is what we were trying to find. This is at response that says that this is this IP address is with corresponding to this MAC address. So this is it for this tutorial, guys. In the next tutorial, I will bring further improvements in this script, and this will probably be a 5 to 6 part series. And if you liked it, please do like and share it. And if you want more tutorials, please leave your comments below and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you. Hi YouTube, welcome to the second part of the ARP scanner tutorial. In this tutorial we will see how to refine the information that we get. So right now when we run this scan, we get lots of output. We don't want all of that, it's not necessary. So in here if I type Python and if I run this, it will give me a lot of output. So we don't need all that. So all we need is for the received part. So the first one, as I explained in the last tutorial, the first part, this is the request that we sent, this part, and the second one, it's what we receive. So what we are interested in receiving when we receive the packet, what you're interested in is the hardware address and the IP address. So the source, and this is the source. So you're sending a request to 192.168.1.187, and this is the hardware address. This is what we are interested in. This is what we want to receive. So in this tutorial, we will see how we get that. So for this, what we have to do is let me drag this down. We don't need all this space. So I don't need these two lines. So in here, if I print, so what do I want to print? I want to print the IP address. So I can say IP, and for the received, I want the source and the MAC address also. So I want the source IP address and the source MAC address. So received source. So what it will do is it will look at the received packet. It will take the P source and HW source, which is the IP address and the MAC address. So this should be the MAC address that we receive. Start with 08 and end with 78. Sorry, not that one. Yeah, this is the packet that we receive. So the source address should be 1C and ends at F1, and the source IP address is 192.168.1.187. So this is what we should receive. So let's save it, and this time let's run a script too. So yeah, in here you see that the IP address is 187. We receive the IP address and we receive its MAC address. So we have refined the information that we receive. We are not getting all that information because we don't need that. So this is all we need. And just to recap, guys, the the first thing that we do, if you haven't watched the first part of this tutorial, I'll quickly explain it. We need this Scapy module that you are importing. This creates the ARP request. The ARP request has the IP address of the target, which is 192.168.187. Then this is the Ethernet frame. The Ethernet frame is FF. This is the broadcast address. We are sending it to all the nodes in the network. And in here, we are combining the ARP request with the Ethernet frame. In here, what we are doing is we are sending the packet that we created, which includes the ARP request and the Ethernet frame. The timeout is 1. It says that to move on after 1 second fails, and the verbosity is false because we don't want too much information. Then we go through the sent and received packets, and we print it. We print the IP address and the MAC address of the node computer. So this is it for this one, guys. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comment section below, and please do like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you, guys. I will see you guys in the next one. Hi YouTube, welcome to the third part of the Python network scanner series. In this tutorial, we'll bring further improvements in this script, and I will show you guys how to import the argparse module, and this will allow us to take the target IP address from the user, so we don't have to hard code the target IP address in the code. By using the argparse, we can take the IP address in the user as the user argument when the program is executed. It will be easy, a lot easier. We don't have to bring changes in the script every time we want to scan a new IP address. But before we get started, I got a couple of questions from the previous tutorial, which I will answer in the at the last part of this tutorial, if I remember. Hopefully I will remember that. So the question one was, can you explain the FFF part in here, this, the Ethernet? And the other one was that, what is the difference between the ARP packet and the Ethernet frame? So yeah, I will explain that at the end of this tutorial. So let's get started. Now the first thing that you have to do is we have to import the argparse module. So we say import argparse. Once we have done that, then this piece of code here, we have to put it in a function. So let's call this function scan, and this scan will take an argument, the scan function. So let's put it instead in the code. So in here, now we don't need to hard code the IP address. We just have to pass an IP. So the IP address that we pass to the scan function, in here we are sending it as the packet destination, or packet destination. So this is our function. Now in order to use this function, we need a main function. The main function is where our program execution starts and this script is executed. So let's quickly create this main function. Sorry, this is the main function. Now the first thing that we have to do is we have to use the argparse module, and we have to create an argument parser. And so let's do that. We will give it the name parser. We can give it any name we want. I've used parser, so let's create the argument parser. So argparse dot argument parser. We will also give it a description. I think it's optional. You don't have to do it, but let's give it a description. This description, we will give it something like a simple Python network ARP scanner, or something like that. The next thing that we have to do after that is we have to next thing we have to do is we have to add a positional argument. The argument, in our case, the argument would be the IP address that we will take from the user target IP address. So for that, let's add the argument. So this is the parser that we have created, and for that we will create an argument. The argument would be the IP, and let's give a description for that as well. It will be the IP address of the target host. So it will take the IP address. Now that we have created the argument parser, the argument, and now we have to parse those arguments. So let's call it args, and let's parse those arguments using the parse args. Now that we have done this, Now that we have taken the parse this IP argument, next thing we have to do is we have to call the scan function. So we call in the scan function, and we have to pass in the IP argument in here. So we call in the args, and we pass in the IP address. Just a quick overview. In here we have imported the argparse module. This line here, it creates the argument parser. In here we are taking the arguments. In this case, we just need one argument, the IP address. This parses those arguments, and in here we have passed the IP argument to the scan function. The scan function takes the IP address and it passes to the PDST part of the ARP packet. Now there's another question I had gotten about this asterisk here. What it means, the asterisk, it imports everything from the scapy.all module. Now the pro or the advantage of using this is that it can be very convenient when you need money or all the elements from a module. In this case, I'm using the ARP, Ether, and also SRP, these three classes and functions. So it's kind of handy, but you don't have to do that. You can also import specific classes or functions. So in this case, as I said, I'm using the ARP class, the Ether class, and the SRP function. The ARP class is used to create the ARP packet, the Ether class is used to create the Ethernet frame, and the SRP is used to send and receive the packets. So we can also do this: ARP, Ether, and SRP. So now we have imported all these three things, the ARP and Ether classes, and also the SRP function. So this is also one way to do it. So we can save it. Let's go to the terminal. Sudo, we have to so now that we have the parser, we have used argparse. What we can do is using a -- help. Let me pull this up a bit. So in here you can see that it says a simple Python network ARP scanner. This is this part of our function, the argument parser. So it gives a simple description of what the parser is used for, and the positional arguments. In here we can see that it takes one argument, IP, and its IP address of the target host. In here it says the positional argument, which in this case it's the IP address, and it takes the IP address of the target host. This is the description. This is the description of the help section of the positional argument. It explains what do you need to pass in. So again, this time let's pass in the target. I believe it was 192.168.1.187. So let's run this. In here we can see that it has run that, and it has given the MAC address. The MAC address of this IP address, the host that is running this IP address, that's using this IP address of 192.168.1.187. Now, yes, so I received also a couple of questions from the previous tutorial. The first one was, can you explain the FF section, this part, what does it do? Now, the address that we have here, the FF, it's an the address is an Ethernet frame. It represents a broadcast MAC address. So when a frame is sent with this destination MAC address, it signals that the frame is meant to be received by all devices on the local network segment. This is commonly used for protocols like ARP, where a device broadcasts a request to find the MAC address corresponding to a specific IP address. All devices on the local network receive and process the broadcast frame, but only the intended recipient with a matching IP address will reply. As we saw, the first request, I believe it was who is, and then the second was is at. Only that particular IP address will respond with MAC address. And the second one was the second question was, what is the difference between ARP and Ether? So an ARP packet is used to map an IP address to a MAC address, so devices on the same network can communicate. It's like a helper message that says, who has this IP address? Tell me your MAC address. On the other hand, an Ethernet frame is the data packet that actually transports information between devices at the data link layer. It wraps the ARP packet for any other network packet, along with the MAC addresses and control information, enabling devices on a network to recognize and process it for further transmission or delivery. So this is it for this tutorial, guys. In this tutorial, we saw how to take an argument from the user and pass it to the scan function and get the MAC address of the target. So this is it for this one, guys. If you have any further questions, please leave it in the comment section below, and please do like, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much. Hi YouTube, welcome to the part 4 of the Python network ARP scanner series. In this tutorial, I will show you guys how to get the interface name from the command prompt. So it will take the interface name, it will find using regular expressions, it will retrieve the IP address. Then using that IP address, we will scan the network for all the nodes or hosts. So by this point, what we have learned is that we can just pass in a single IP address and it will check if that host exists on the network or not. This tutorial, we will see how we can pass the interface, our network interface, and the script will scan for all the hosts that are live or active in our network. So let's get started. So if we go to terminal here, and I use the command IP address show ETH0, you can see that it shows my IP address, just 192.168.192. Now what we have to do is we have to write a function that will run this command for us, IP address show ETH0, retrieve this IP address from this part here and pass it to the scan function. So let's do that. In here, let's create a new function. The name of the function, you can say get IP address. It will take an argument. The argument will be the interface name. After that, let's run the command. So what command do you want to run? You want it to run the IP address show interface name. So let's create a variable. The variable will name it result. And how do we run this command? In order to run that, we need to use subprocess. So first, by the way, what we have to do is let's import. For this, we need to import subprocess. So once we did that here, the next thing we have to do is we have to run it. So what do we want to run? We want to run the IP address show. So we can type in IP address show, and the last part we will type in the interface. So we take the interface, we pass it here. And the next thing that you have to do is let's type in capture output. We will set it to true, and the text we will also set that to true. So if you want more information about this, just put it in the comment section below and I will answer your questions. Next, we have to define the regular expression. So the regular expression, so if we run this command, we will get all the output that I showed you guys. So what we want is we want just the specific IP address, that part alone. So for that, we need a we need to create a regular expression. So regex, we will call it. So yeah, first we have to import it. Import RE. So we need to import the RE module for this. Then we have to create the regular expression. I'll type it now here for you guys. So this is the regular expression. The regular expression. Again, if you need further information about this, it can be kind of regular expressions can be kind of complicated, but this part in here, what it will do is that it will retrieve the IP address, and it will, using this IP address, we will pass it to the scan function here. So previously what we did, we passed in the IP address directly. This time we retrieve the IP address from the regular expression and we will pass it to the scan function. Again, if you need more information about this regular expression, just type it in the comment section below, and I would create another tutorial for this if you guys want it. So next what we have to do is, let's see if we have to search for the regular expression. We see if that the IP address exists or not. So what we do is type in RE search. For this, the first parameter it will take is the regular expression. So we say look for this regular expression. Look for it where in the output of the result command. So the RE search, it uses the regular expression to search. This is our regular expression, the first parameter in here. It will use this regular expression and it will search the output of result. So it takes the standard output, the output of the result command in here. So it can be any command you want. It will look for the regular expression, and if find it, it will assign it to match. So next what we have to do is we have to see if it is true. If the command is run successfully and the IP address is found, we want to return it. So we say return match group 1. It returns the IP address. If it's not successful, then we print none. So we don't want to return anything. Again, if you guys any question about this, if you want more information about this regular expression, it can take some time for me if I go and do a deep dive into the regular expression. So if you guys understand it, that's good. If you don't, please leave a comment and leave a comment in the comment section below, and I will create a new tutorial explaining how this function works. I will do a deep dive on this. So next what we have to do, next let's use our function. So we have to bring some changes to this function here. So instead of taking the IP address, this time we will be taking the interface name. So we can say, let's change the description, the help section also. We can type in something like interface name. So the next thing that we have to do is let's assign it to IP. So we use this function here, get IP address, get IP address. The argument it takes is the interface. So it's our parser args.interface. So args in here parses the arguments, and interface is the first parameter that we pass to the when we are running the script. So once we do that, it gets assigned to IP. We can also do a quick print statement. We can say your IP address is, we can then say IP, and then for the scan, this time we just pass it the IP address. So the IP address that we received from here, we just pass it to the scan function. So let's save it. Let's quickly run this script and see how it works. So let's run sudo python 3 for eth0. So again, let's do quickly a help section. You have to type in the password. So in here we can say that this time it asks for the interface name, pass in the interface. Let's see what happens. The interface for me it's eth0. For you guys it can be something else. Type in the interface name. So you can see that it shows the IP address. It says that this is your IP address, and it searches the network for the host. So far my script has been able to detect one host. If there are more than one host on your network, the script will be able to detect those hosts as well. So you can just run it again, check if there are more hosts. It will be able to find all those hosts. In here you can see that it was able to find another host in here. So our final goal is to create a script that will run every 60 seconds or every 30 seconds. You can define the time period, and it will continuously monitor the network. It will send this ARP request to find the newly discovered or the new networks, new hosts connecting to the network. So this is it for this one, guys. Please do like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And if you have any question, put it in the comments section below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Hi YouTube, welcome to the part 5 of the Python network ARP scanner tutorial series. In this tutorial, I'll show you guys how to add some exception handling. So this code here, it works, but the problem with this code is that if we encounter some error running this IP address command and also what happens if you pass in an interface name that doesn't exist, these problems, how to handle it, we will see in this situation, in this tutorial. Let's just quickly run this again. So previously we typed in this Python command for the ARP scanner in the last tutorial, and we passed the Ethernet 0. So let's say we pass in Ethernet 1, which this interface, by the way, it doesn't exist. So if we type in the Ethernet 1, we get an error. We don't know what's happening. We don't understand anything from this error. So we don't know that whether the interface name exists or it doesn't exist. This error in here, this is not very informative. So we will, in this tutorial, you'll see how we can get how to introduce exception handling, so we get kind of errors that we can understand. And so the first thing, so the first thing that we have to do, let's just put this code in a let's try to put this in a try catch block here in Python. So in here, let's put in a try statement. Okay. Let's try to indent this code. So we are trying this command, and in case something happens, some exception happens, let's catch any error. So we will catch the errors in the except block here. So let's type in except, and then we pass in subprocess called process error as E, and let's print. So what do we want to print? We want to print something like failed to get an IP address for interface. We will pass in the interface name here, and then we will return nothing, so we will return none. So in here, what we have done is that it will try to run this command IP address, and if there is an error running this code here, if there's any error, it will catch it, and it will catch the error, and it will print this statement: failed to get an IP address for interface, whatever interface that we pass here. And I think there's one thing else, one more thing that we can do in here in the else statement. We can also say that, let's say the IP address, we weren't able to get the IP address, so let's just add in a print statement here as well. So we can say no IP address found for interface. So in here, let's say the command, it was able to run successfully, but for some reason, maybe the DHCP server wasn't running and the interface card, it wasn't able to retrieve or get an IP address. So in case if this command is able to run successfully and the IP address doesn't exist, then we will print this statement that no IP address was found. But if the command itself is unsuccessful, if the command itself doesn't run, then this catch statement over here, this statement will catch the error, and it will print failed to get an IP address. So this should be it, I think. Let's see from the previous tutorial. So in here we are getting the IP address, so we can say that IP interface. Okay, so what we can do is we can so maybe we can use another if statement here. So we can say that if IP, so if IP is successful, we can say that print your IP address is this, and after that we can use the scan. So yeah, so it tries to retrieve the IP address. This is the IP address that we give, the IP address, then it checks if the IP address exists, then it scans it. It says it gives you the IP address, and if it's not successful, then it will, let's just say, no IP address available for scanning. I think we have done a good job of catching the errors. I'm not sure if you would need this port or not, but so in here, again, one more time, if the command is unsuccessful, this statement here, this will catch it. If there is a problem with the IP address, if the interface is up but there is no IP address, this statement should catch it. And in here, we are again checking for the IP address in case there was some problem with the IP address and we couldn't do scanning, the scan isn't successful, we don't receive an IP address, then it won't be able to run the scan, and we will get this no IP address available for scanning. So this will be it. Let's just quickly run it and see if everything is all right. Sudo. So for ETH1, it doesn't exist. We run it. It will ask us for the password. Let's type in. So in here, you can see that even though in here since the ETH1 IP interface does not exist, it says that no IP address found for ETH1. This is this statement here, guys, because this time the interface command, this one IP address show ETH1, it was run successfully, so there was no need for this exception to be handled and for this statement to catch the error. However, since the command was run successfully, but the interface name, the interface one, ETH1, didn't exist, and we weren't able to retrieve an IP address, it showed us the error that no IP address was found for the interface. And the second statement, no IP address available for scanning, is from this part here. Since we weren't able to get an IP address, it's here that no IP address available for scanning. So this is it for this, guys. Again, I think some of you guys, so I'm just trying to not make this tutorial very long by explaining all this exception handling. In the previous tutorial, I didn't explain this regular expression very well. So again, if you have any questions, please put it in the comment section below. I can answer that question in the comment section below, and I can also create a video, another one at the end of this series, explaining these parts that you have don't understand. So this is it for this one, guys. Please do like, share, and subscribe. And if you have any questions, put it in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Hi YouTube, welcome to the part 6 of the Python network ARP scanner series. This is the last part, and in this part we will see how to create a loop, a while loop, that will run this script, let's say every 60 seconds. You can change it to 35 seconds or however many seconds you want it to run. So we will see how to create a script that will run every 60 seconds. It will scan the network, it will send the ARP request, it will print out the list of all the IP addresses that it was able to find on the network, and it will continuously run this every however many seconds you want it. So let's get started. Now for this, the first thing we have to do, let's import the libraries or the modules that we are going to need. So for this, we are going to need one, so we are going to need the time module. So we are going to have to type in time module. And the second thing that we are going to need is the OS module. So in here, okay, so this is what you have to do here. Now this part, we know that it runs the scan. So let's put it in a while loop. So we want a while loop to continuously run. So we have to use the while true here. So what does it mean, while true here? It means that just keep running the tool indefinitely. Now, the problem here is that if it keeps running, it will clutter the screen. So what do we want? We want the screen to be refreshed every time we run this ARP scan. So every however many seconds, let's say every 60 seconds, when this network ARP scanning, this ARP scanning is done, the screen should be refreshed. We don't want it to clutter the screen, and So for this, we have to use the OS module, that we just imported. So we have to run the command. Now we have to run, now this script, we can run it on network, on a Windows computer, on a Windows system, and we can also run it on a Linux system. Now in Windows, if you want to clear the command prompt, then you have to type in the CLS command. CLS is used to clear the screen. So we can say run CLS if os.name is equal to NT. So if the operating system belongs to the NT family, which is the Windows family, then run the CLS. Otherwise, else we can say that's run the clear. Now in Linux, if you want to clear the screen, then you have to type in the clear command. But for Windows, it's CLS. Next, you are printing the IP address. After that, you're scanning. Now this scan, let's say we want it to run every 30 seconds or every 60 seconds. So this is where we want to sleep. So once this is run, then how many seconds do you want the script to sleep? So if I type in 60 seconds, once this is run, the IP address is retrieved, it will sleep for 60 seconds. Then since this is true, we are using the while true here, this script will run indefinitely. Then after 60 seconds of sleep, it goes to the beginning, it will clear the screen and run the scan, show us the IP addresses, then sleep for 60 seconds, then use the CLS or clear to clear the screen, and then print the IP address, scan, and then sleep. This is how it will work. So let's just quickly, for us, we can do it, let's say maybe 10 seconds, not 5. So we can do it 10 seconds. So what it will do is, for 10 seconds, it will run it, wait for 10 seconds, then run again. So let's go to terminal here. We will type in the interface and it will ask us for the password. So once the password is done, so you can see that it's able to find these MAC addresses on the network. So it will wait for 10 seconds, it will refresh the screen, clear the screen, then run it again. So let's wait for 10 seconds. Yeah, so 10 seconds is up. It was able to find these MAC addresses. So if some computers they get disconnected, it will run it again for 10 seconds and then it will stop it. So in here we can see that this time it was able to find 2 MAC addresses. So this is how it works, guys. In order to stop it, I use Control-C. So this is it, guys. This is the this was the 6th part of this series. This is what we wanted to create. The first section, we are importing the modules. This section, we are scanning. This section is for the retrieving IP address, and this is the main part where the program gets run. So some people, I think, had a question of understanding this regular expression part. For this, I will create a new tutorial. Hopefully, it will come in the next few days. So this is it, guys. This is it for this one. I hope you found it informative, and if you found it useful, please consider subscribing to the channel, and also do like and share it with your friends. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the comment section below, and I will see you guys in the next one.